Hello, good evening. I'm just trying to sort myself out on the computer so I can see your comments. Hi Marilyn, hi Andreen, hi Penny, hi Caroline. I just cannot get it up on my computer, so we'll try again. Hi Jenny. Right, I think we're there. Hi Catherine. My computer seriously needs updating. Really, really does. It's on a go slow. I prefer to watch it on the computer so I can see what's happening. Yeah, that's it. Got it. Yay, finally. Hi Yvonne. Hi Catherine. Right, so let's see, where do we start? Right, so we all saw the one that was online the other day, so we've seen that one. So today I had a bit of a lazy day. I was making crepe flowers, and then I thought, well, best maybe I should come out and do a different one, a different colour. So this one was in gold, and it's using other stamps of Julie's. I never can remember. So I used one from the big flower from Floral Fancies for that one. And I used the leaves from Fresh Florals for this. And I used, did I use oxides? Yeah, I used oxides on this one. But sadly, the two oxides met in the middle there. It went all purple and it was really pretty, and then I went and covered it up with the vellum. But hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. So that's what we're going to do tonight. But I'm going to use the, yeah, you made it, Catherine. Woo! I'm going to use the Heartfelt Sunflower for tonight. Okay, and I'm going to do, just turn my heater off, it's gone a bit warm now. I'm going to do a 5x7 card tonight. Okay, so, but I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to do it in silver with oxides, blue oxides. I just dragged a couple of these out. When I find some combinations that I quite like, I like to make a little swatch. And then I write on the back what colours I've used. And in this case, it was picked raspberry, seedless preserves, villainous potion, and that was distress inks. And this is the combo I'm going to use tonight for the card. And this is oxides, and it's tumbled glass, salty ocean, and peacock feathers. So that's what we're going to do. So first things first, we need to cut a mass and layer of silver. Up to you whether you use the really uber shiny stuff or whether you use the matte stuff. I'm going to use the shiny stuff because I'm using polished silver distress ink. So I'm going to shove this down and let it dry while we move on. So, and all I've done with this is cut it so that you've got a little white border around your card. Totally up to you what size border you want. I only cut it a couple of mil short. Don't always go for 1/4 mil down. Sometimes you just want to see a little tiny bit of silver rather than a whole load of it, but that's up to you. And then I've cut a piece of mixed media card that I use all the time. I just find it takes the ink and the water really, really well. And I've cut that one, as you can see, just a little bit shorter, smaller than the silver one. So I'm going to pop that to one side. And the first thing we've got to do is do some embossing and stamping. So yeah, I can't ever remember what colour combos either, and there's that many of them, and then you think you get it, and then you don't, and it doesn't look like it should, and yeah, so I always do a colour swatch, you know, just of my favourite ones that are kind of go-to ones, and it really, really helps when your mojo's gone missing, and you're like, oh, what colour to use? You don't know what colour to use, well, you've got your swatches with the names on the back. So I'm going to pop that on. And I'm going to take the sunflower and I'm just going to drop the sunflower in. Now, Usually when I'm doing this as well, I make, well, when I first get the stamp, to be honest, I make myself a mask. I always make a mask, and I make it out of really thin copy paper. I mask the leaves off, and then I keep it, as you can see, I've used it before. I keep it in the back of the package or in a little, you know, cello bag. So I've always got the masks ready. Now, I did give this a bit of a clean, but it may well come some black ink on it. It doesn't really matter about that because we're going to be embossing it with the polished silver wow powders, so you won't see. Hiya, Dawn. Oh, I hope you're feeling better. Dawn's got a rotten cold. Yeah, so we're going to use the polished silver, so you won't see a bit of the dirty ink if it does come off. I did try and clean it, but it's one of my most used stamps lately, so it's bound to be a little bit grubby. I'm not the best at cleaning stamps, to be honest. So I'm going to use Wow embossing pad. I'm not sure how juicy it is, so I might have to hit it a few times. Could do with re-inking that and all. And all these little jobs that you don't get round to. You just want to craft instead of messing about filling things up. So you might not be able to see where that's gone. Actually, yeah, it'll do. It'll do, because I do have one ready anyway. There we go. And I am pushing quite hard on it, as I said, because of the embossing pad dryness. So 3 hits, I think, should do it. Yeah, we got it. I can see it. You probably can't, but I can see it's gotten. And I probably should have run my anti-static over it, but there you go. Like I said, I have one ready anyway, just in case of mishaps. But no, we're looking good. And if you do end up getting some that you don't want, like I've got a few bits here, just get a nice fine paintbrush and swipe them away, okay? But you know what? I never worry about stuff like that because it just adds texture. Unless you want a super, super clean look, it just adds a bit of texture, you know. So I'm just taking that off. I'll put the polished silver back in because I'm bound fine sure to knock that over. There we are. So pop the lid up there. And then I'll just, off camera, heat it. Well, I shall do it here. I'll heat it up well. Hi, Gail. You alright, honey? We haven't done much. All I've done is emboss. I'm about to emboss one flower. That's it. So I like to get my heat gun really hot to start with. So let's go. Let's see if we can see it on camera. Go. This polished silver is particularly pretty. It's really high shiny. And this is a beautiful stamp to emboss this way. There we are. Job done. So there we go. We've got it in one corner. So now this is where your mask comes in. Okay. So what you need to do is find yourself one of these that looks over familiar, because you can spend half an hour turning it round, and I probably will now. As you can see, she says find one that looks familiar. That's it, we got it. And then pop your mask on top, okay? Position it quite well as you can, because what we're going to do is we're going to put a leaf across there. So hold it down, and then there's 2 leaves, one go one way, one goes the other. So on that goes there, on that goes there. We stamp it in the same way, and we heat emboss it. Okay. So once you've done that, I'm not gonna do it now because you've just seen me do that. But what you will end up with is this. So your leaves then look like they're coming from behind the flower. Okay, let me just get all this stuff out of the way. Got embossing powder everywhere. I've only just started. Okay, so this is what we're going to end up with. You can see the high shine on it. It's really, really shiny. Okay, and then again, we are going to use the mask. Why did I move it? Really? Could be a while, guys. Right, let me see. Hearts. There we are, we got it. So we put that on. And then the 2 leaves masks, I'm going to put them on as well. Now these can be a little bit dodgy to hold on to. But you know, it doesn't matter. If you get a bit of blue ink on your flower, you're going to colour them blue anyway. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And I will use my magnets. Not that my board is magnetic or anything. But if I use the magnets, it will at least hold it in place. So I'm going to put this one on as well. I will use my fingers to hold it down. But like I said, you don't have to be too precious about it. Right, look, put that underneath. Okay, there we are. So I'm just going to hold it down with the magnet, just to hold it in place a little bit, to give me a bit of a hand. Okay, there we are. I'll move that over when it comes to inking it. So the inks themselves, oxides. I've gone with tumbled glass, salty ocean, and peacock feathers. So I like to keep different brushes for my oxides. So let's get them in place so I don't mess up. There we go. Right, so we're going to start at the top with the pale one. Okay, the pale oxide. And this is really quite pale. So I'm going to hold this down. Maybe go on a piece of paper as well, because I'm probably going to get it everywhere. There we are. So hold it down and just ink. Now, up to you how deep you go. If you hold the brush quite far down at the head, you get a deeper, sort of deeper colour layer. But it's up to you. It depends on how much you want, you know, the difference between the 2 colours to be. So just colour. And you can go back in again and put more on if you find you haven't got enough. And if you do get a bit of blue on your leaves, you know, no stress, no worries. It's going to get some pale blue ink on it anyway later when we colour it. So don't worry too much about that. Okay. So you just hold it down and you add your ink as deep as you want it to go, as light as you want it to go. And you're going to come, because we're using 3 colours, you're going to come about a third of the way down. And if you've overshot your masks, just move it up and continue. And like I said, don't worry. It's not exact science, is this. Now, this ink pad I've got here, this, even though I don't use my oxides very much, it seems to be the one that is either A, quite pale, or I have used it more than I thought, and it's not as juicy as it once was. So there we go. We'll take that away. Any bits that you think you've really overshot, put a little bit around your flowers. It's only around the flowers really that you need it. There we are. So that'll do for that one. And then bring a little bit of what's left on your brush down, so it'll help blend the next colour down, because this one's really quite dark. So I don't want to go too dark to start with, so I'm going to start a little bit further down. Otherwise it takes an awful lot of blending to get the 2 colours, you know, the 2 colours to mix well. So she's moved it again, guys. There we are. There we go. And this one I really do need. So I'm going to hold that one in when it comes to it. There we are. So start off lightly where the pale blue is going to join the other blue. And then what you do is you go back in with your pale blue one and you blend that line so it's not so harsh. I hope you can see that. Well, it looks quite harsh on screen actually, but I'll show you now. I'll show you again in a minute how to blend the line out, because one thing I don't like is a really harsh line across it. It doesn't look quite right. So go around your flowers, around your leaves, pop your fingers on, try and keep it where it is. These are quite small, these leaves, so they do take a little bit of holding down. But once you've gone around the leaves, you can remove the thing and fill in yourself. Okay, and I think the best idea would be to put that back on and go over. I'm really making this look more difficult than it needs to be, aren't I? There we are. And then just go around the leaves. And like I said, when it comes to the end bit, you can fill it in yourself. Okay? Once you've gotten all your colours on your leaves. Right, so I'm going to go a little bit heavier down this bit now. The light in this shed, in my craft shed, tends to bleach out some of the colour. This is quite vibrant for me. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't really do vibrant. I tend to want to do pale colours. That's my go-to. Right, back in with this blue, pale blue, because I can see a definite line there that I don't right like. So now we can start to blend that line out. And the more you put down, the more you can blend it out. It never looks good when you first start it until you've actually finished it. And that's why some people just don't do this, because they think it doesn't look great. But once oxide dries, it starts to look really, really nice. So I'm just going to bring that down a little bit, because we're going to go into the salty ocean now. And we want something to blend it into. So just with what's left on there. And here we go. This one's really dark. So I'm going to start away. I've got a piece of vellum here as well to lean on. I'm going to start away from where we're going to actually blend it with the darkness, and then I'm going to just gently take it up, moving the vellum out of the way because we don't want a line, and I'm just going to take it over there, and then I'll go back in again with the middle blue brush just to make sure that line is blended nicely across that line there. There we go. So I have a half decent blend on that. It looks a lot smoother to me than it does on screen. Especially this bit here needs blending out. I can see that on screen. So let's go with the pale blue one and see if we can move it about a bit. There we are. That's much better. I might go a little heavier here on this corner. There we are, that'll do it. I'll just move those out of the way now. And I don't like painting, colouring with oxides. I'd rather colour with the distress inks. So I've kind of got a similar set of distress ink colours. Tumbled glass, just the same. I'm just going to wipe that off because I'm going to put my finger down it. Tumbled glass. I've got the salty ocean as well. I've also got the peacock feathers. But I've also brought in a slightly darker one in the chip sapphire. Just maybe need it in the middle, not sure. So I'm just checking the questions, seeing if there's any questions. No, not as yet. There we are. So, right. I'm going to put down, excuse the squeaking, a base colour with the tumbled glass, and I'm going to use a really thin paintbrush on a bit of water. I've got a tissue ready to take off all the excess water. This is why I like using the mixed media paper, because it takes the ink really well, whether it's water or just plain ink, you know. So what I'm going to do is lean on my tissue, and I'm just going to put, not too wet though, I'm not going in too wet. I'm going to put a little bit of blue all over. This is the palest one, obviously. I'm not the best at watercolouring. I'm really not. I kind of like the really messy, loose look rather than the super blended look. I'm not very patient, and when it comes to making crepe flowers, I'm extremely patient. When it comes to painting, I just kind of want it finished. So if you put a base colour down, then you've got something to work on. Much like when you're doing the pro markers, you know. You put your palest down first, then you've got something to blend onto. So I'm just, they've already got a base of blue, although it's oxide, that's fine. It's still blue, it's still ink, it's fine. I'm just going to move that about a bit. There we are. So really pale base, and now I'm going to go in with, shall I go in with that one? This is it now. This is where you change your mind. Bit of both maybe. Maybe the darker blue. And just watering it down a bit to start with. Start in the middle, work out. Because you want the middle part of it to be darker. I hope you can see this on screen. And you can see there's absolutely no technique required for this. Just if you want to blend it out, just take some of the colour off of your brush as you go. As you can see what I'm doing, just kind of dabbing it on. The underneath ones will be darker. I'm going to do a little darker on these leaves here because it's heading down that way towards like the darkest of the ombre colours. Try not to lean on your piece like I did just then, because you don't want like finger marks and that on it. Okay. Take some of the colour off and just blend it out towards the end of the leaf. But I do want the middles to be slightly darker than they are. Okay. That's quite a good shot because you can see the purple coming through. The polished silver coming through. Okay, I'm going to put a bit of this on just to see what it looks like. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's brightening it up a bit. Or darkening it up a bit so you can see. You're only using the 3 colours basically that you've used throughout it. Keep it kind of consistent. Mixing between the two now. Like I said, this is like my way of painting. If you want to use watercolour pencils, yeah, and then you can blend them out, or I really like using distress inks, but obviously you can use whatever you've got. Watercolour paint, be nice if you did it in maybe metallics, you know. There's just so many options with it really. And now I want to darken the middle up, and I'll bring it up a bit and see if you can see it. I'm not sure if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. So do we have any questions while I'm just painting? No, I can see them all popping up. She says, the 3 colours are so pretty, I must make a note. Yeah. Yeah. These are my favourite go-tos, to be fair. Right, okay, so I'm going to put a bit of this dark one in now, just to darken up the centres. And this one is Chip Sapphire. So, a little bit in. Darken that centre up. I'm now going to lean on this. Just a bit coming out there. And then I'm going to bleed it up. And there's water on there. There's quite a bit of water on there. So I'm just kind of going to put a bit of water on it and let it run where it wants to run, I think. And like I said, this takes a real good amount of water, this paper. I've tried lots of different papers, but this one, I get it, and it works quite well. So, I'm not going to faff too much. She says, faffing. Right, okay, I'm going to put a bit on the leaves as well, because I want them to be a little more noticeable then, at the edges, than they are. I'll put some in this one too. And don't forget, with watercolour, if you go too far and you put too much in, you can always dab it out with your tissue, which is great for me. If you make a mistake, it's cool. Let me see, this one needs a bit more, and then I'll really darken up the centre. And the good thing about with distress inks as well is, once it's dry, before it dries rather, on your embossing, you can wipe it off. It doesn't stain the embossing like the oxides can. Oxide seems to have a little chalky residue on it, and it really sometimes, there we go with the water, and just leave it to run a bit now. And it'll take itself where it wants to go, and the centres will look a bit darker. Right, salty ocean. I might just dry my brush, pick a bit of that up, and paint in around the leaves where I have the little bits of white that I'm not over keen on, and then dab off. I don't want a massive halo around the flowers, so like I said, it doesn't matter if you make a bit of a mistake, you can fill it in and then pass it off, and it just sort of sits there and mixes with the, there we are, mixes with the oxides a little maybe. There we go, colours that bit there. Right, I missed a leaf, yes I have. There we go. So we've got this now, and you can see the middle of the flower is quite dark, but you can still see the nice embossing on there. It hasn't ruined any of that. So I'm just going to wipe this up because I always get it everywhere. I'm just going to give it a little dry with my hairdryer. Now I don't use my heat tool for this once it's embossed, just in case it melted. So I'll just give it a wee dry with my hairdryer. And by the time I mess about with the rest of it, that should be dry. So I'll pop it out the way, move the water and everything. So now it comes to doing the vellum wrap that goes around it. Okay, so vellum, right. This is vellum, this piece. I'm sure you can hear the noise of it. It's quite thick, and it's Anita's, you know, Anita's vellum, and it's about £4 a packet. Okay. This, however, is tracing paper. Okay, it tears the same. It's slightly more translucent than the vellum, so it'll give a slightly different look. You'll be able to see more of the colours behind. And if I had used this one instead of the vellum on the pink one, you would probably have seen some of the purple through it. So this tracing pad, £1.49. So if you don't want to run to the prices of vellum, then go with the tracing paper. And it's always handy to have a pad of tracing paper in anyway, isn't it? Let's face it. So I will use the vellum this time, seeing as I've got it out. And all we want to do is tear ourselves a wrap, whatever width you want. And if you tear towards yourself and sort of move it and wobble it, you get this nice white line. Okay, so then turn it round, and again, tear it towards yourself. It doesn't matter how big, how small you do it, as long as it's got some interest in it, it's not a straight line. Okay, so vellum is going to go around there. We're going to put a sentiment on it. Okay, so if I put it there, you do actually get to see 3 of the colours. Alright, so we're going to stamp and heat emboss a silver sentiment on there now. Right, but if I bring the pink one back in, for added interest, if you don't want to just leave it plain, what I did with this one is, this is just again a sheet of vellum, and I heat embossed in the same colour gold that I did the flowers on. Then I turned it over and I used stress inks on the back of it. Okay, a bit like you do with parchment, but then when you put that on, that gives a different look again. You know, so if you didn't want your plain vellum, then you could go with a panel of that maybe, I don't know, or a panel of white embossing coloured on the back with pencils this time. I only did one just to show you. Okay, or if you wanted to, you could use an embossing folder with your vellum. That'll give it a slightly different look as well. Or you can use clear acetate and do the same thing, which gives a little bit of white. You know, there's lots of different ways of using vellum. I really like vellum. It just adds a little something without adding too much. So we've got our panel. So if we bring the stamp platform back in again, all right, put your vellum in, hold it either edge, and I am because I've been handling it, I'm going to put this over the top of it. And then I'm going to get a sentiment from the Heartfelt Sunflowers. There's so many nice ones. Wishing you everything wonderful. You are wonderful in every way. Wishing you a day as special as you are. Yeah, quite like that one. We'll go with that one. Yeah. Would have to be the Daisy stamp, wouldn't it? Really? Okay, I'm not using the Daisy stamp. Wishing you everything wonderful. There we go. So, straighten up your vellum as best you can. Put it on. And then I'm going to use the polished silver again, the same as we did with the flowers. I'm going to use the Wow embossing ink. Okay. Maybe I have to do it a couple of times because my ink is not the juiciest, like I said. Maybe one more time should do it. Yeah, just imagine how many you can make with all the different colours of the inks you've got as well. I mean, that's not including doing the other techniques where you splat water on it. That'll give it a different look as well. Oh, so many techniques, not enough hours in the day, innit? So put them out the way. Lift this up. Yeah, that looks good. We're going to get a good emboss on that. I've not got any minging fingerprints on it. So let's bring me... Stays in my hands already. Bring the silver back in. Yep, that's good. Just missed a little tiny bit on the W there. That's better. Put it away. How many times have I knocked them over? Oof. And then you start getting all upset. Again, embossed. With vellum, it doesn't take very long, so it literally takes seconds. So if you heat your gun up well and in advance, then it automatically goes really, really fast. So make sure my gun's good and hot. And there it goes, just as quick as that. As soon as it's done, take it away. You do not want to burn. You do not want to burn your vellum, because that's nasty. Okay, so while that dries a wee minute, I'll get me double-sided tape out. Turn this over. Take 20 minutes to find the end. There we are. This is just to catch the vellum on the back. Now, I had a poker tool a minute ago. Those craft fairies have been in here again. Oh, no, where that's gone. Let's see if I can find another one. Yeah. Here we go. Found another one. Good job I've got about 4 of these. I lose these on an hourly basis. Right, so remove the sticky off the back. Turn it over, and now you're just going to look at where you want to place it. Obviously, you want to see some of the second colour, so I'll put this one a bit further down than I did the other one, and then just wrap it round and catch it on the back. Now, I like blue and silver together, but obviously blue and platinum works well. Blue and gold probably would as well. I just kind of like the silver with the blue. I'm going to put a bit of that on the back, just to hold them vellum bits down. And then I'm going to put some glue on it and pop it onto the card. That we did before with the silver on. So I'm going to put a bit of glue on it. I'm using Studio Light tacky glue for this. I hope I haven't got fingerprints all over the front of it, because it really, I would leave it, if I was you, I would leave it a little longer to dry, because obviously the oxides take a little bit longer. When you've gone in as heavy as I have with this, just a bit of tape sticking out the bottom there. There we are. Then I'm going to pop it on there, like in the blue and silver. Pop it down, and then I'm going to use this vellum to push it on. Okay. There we are. And then I will use a bit of tissue to remove the excess glue from the side, because I always do that, put it too close to the edge. So now really all there is to do is get my favourite glossies out, and this time I'm going with the Sugar Berries ones. Love these. These are so sparkly. So pick off, if you can, one large, which is going to sit about there, one medium, and one small. Oh, come on, behave. There we are. There we go. And that is as difficult as it gets, really. You can see the silver shining. I'll take a photograph of this and I'll pop it on tomorrow. See the silver, you can see the different blues, and strangely enough, where there's been a little bit of oxide on it, it's kind of oxidised in the middle, which I quite like, and the silver's really standing up well on the vellum. So that's that one. And I'll bring the pink one in so you can see that one, which is in the gold, and I'll pop them side by side so then people can see. And that's it, really. really quick one tonight. So I shall see you in a fortnight to do another live. I've got a really nice one planned, a little bit different. And thank you for joining me tonight, and I shall see you soon. Thank you.